Let's invest with the Australian Securities Exchange. In this video, we will answer some basic questions about shares and the share market. Let's start by defining shares, shareholders, equity capital, capital gains, dividends, share market, ASX, primary and secondary market, and IPOs. A share is part ownership of a business. Companies can raise money by going public, listing on the stock exchange, and selling shares to investors. Shareholders have certain obligations and rights. They share in the risk and fortunes associated with the company. As part owner of the company, investors may be entitled to vote on various matters. Equity capital is the money raised by a company in the share market. This money does not need to be repaid, as it represents continuous ownership of the company. One of the benefits of owning shares is capital gains. This is when you make a profit by selling shares that have risen in value. Additionally, dividends are another benefit of owning shares. Dividends are the distribution of a company's earnings to its shareholders, and are determined by the company's board of directors. Dividends are often distributed quarterly, and may be paid out as cash or in the form of reinvestment in additional stock. Owning shares also comes with risks. The value of a share can fall to zero, and if a company goes broke, shareholders usually will not be compensated from the liquidation of the company's assets. The share market is the aggregation of buyers and sellers of stocks, which represent ownership claims on businesses. This may include securities listed on a public stock exchange, as well as stock that is only traded privately, such as shares of private companies sold to investors through equity crowdfunding platforms. In Australia, the largest securities exchange is the Australian Securities Exchange, ASX, with more than 2,000 companies on its official list. The share market has two separate functions: the primary and secondary market. The primary market is where it all begins. Companies can raise capital by issuing shares to investors. To list on the share market, companies need to be listed on an approved securities exchange, usually the ASX. Requirements include being large enough to achieve a market in its shares. Rules also require companies to inform the share market of activities that may affect the price of the shares on the market and to report profits. An IPO, or initial public offering, is a process whereby a company raises equity capital by offering shares to the public for the first time. As an investor, you may be able to access shares in an IPO, either directly or via your broker. Factors that can affect your access to public floats include the size of the float, the number of shares available, the allocation of shares between institutional clients and retail investors, and the demand for the company's shares. The secondary market is where people buy and sell shares once a company has issued its shares to investors. Shares are traded through stockbrokers on behalf of investors. The price of shares is determined by the forces of supply and demand, and investors decide what they will pay or accept as payment for shares. So that's it for today's video. If you want to test your learning and reinforce your knowledge, we've created flashcards for you. Just click the link in the description below to access them. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more valuable content like this. We appreciate your support. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.